My name is Caleb Okereke, and I'm a managing editor and co-founder at Minority Africa. Our time in the residency was very helpful. I found that just being in an ecosystem and a space where there were several other innovators, both in person and virtually, really helped us with growing our own startup. It would be almost impossible for you not to work when you just saw other people working. So it was quite contagious as well, just being in the same environment. We found that we gained a lot of support from MCI staff here in Uganda, but also from staff at the Innovation Center in Kenya. Benson is always ready to help, for instance. Our coach Michael was incredible. It was just good to have people that didn't mind you failing. I think that was very important for us, just for us to be able to exist in a space where our failures were not judged as harshly as they would have outside of the hub.
Hi, my name is Patricia Kesses, and I'm the duty editor at Minority Africa. So for me, my time as a resident innovator, it was amazing. We got to interact with, like Caleb said, innovators around the space because they're quite a number, but also because MCI as a place it was built under with the intention to educate journalists, to grow journalist skills. And so because of that, we were able to get mentorship from the different MCI staff members. We were introduced to using different equipments. Whenever we had a question about a product we want to start, we had people to go to, and they're always ready to help. And also the coach that we got from AKU, Michael, has been very helpful. He has always been there to answer our questions, to guide us. Even when we don't call him, sometimes he'll always call to check in on us, which I found very instrumental in our growth. And speaking of growth, we have this space has been, the way it was built, from the colors and then the arrangement and then all the things that are put in place, it has been a place that has grown creativity. Our creativity has grown because of the space. It's a place we love coming to. We enjoy being in, and generally it has also helped us in our not just in our work life, but also as us people growing. We've been able to grow our network. They're always having events at the space, so we've been able to meet so many people from different fields. We've been able to meet people in different media spaces, people who are dealing with different things, and this has also grown us as journalists. Yes.
I agree with that, and I think what's super important as well is just the consolidation of ideas and people from different countries, different places who have a shared interest, which is media. And I think that's something that the hub has really, really transformed about our startup, just the belief that anything is possible. We've been able to partner with several other people here. We've held training programs, we've attended events, spoken on panels, moderated panels, and those are doors that might not have been open to us outside of the residency. And thinking in the same light as well, about the training programs which we had to do when most of them virtual, many or no thanks to COVID. But it was, I think, what really struck me about the training programs was the fact that they were designed with us in mind. So from the very beginning, AKU asked us, what do you want to know, right? And then said, let's design a curriculum around what you want to know. And I found that very helpful because many times and in many programs, it's always the other way around. You're being just taught what they think they want you to know. But in the residency we've been in so far, it's really been, it's like human-centered design, right? It's really been centered on what do the innovators want and how can we help them achieve those goals. I loved the very first training we had with Curie on human-centered design. I love the training we had with Kitawa on just grant writing and fundraising for startups. I love pretty much everything that we've done, to be honest. Just it's all been. We even did the training on accounting. I remember the trainer saying then that it was important for us to know how to account, even though we would have accountants in our startup, but we'd have to have basic accounting knowledge, which I think just it's a very holistic and wholesome training program as well, besides the hub.
Actually, I agree 100%. These trainings, what they did for us, because most of us, like Caleb and I, have gone to journalism school, and in journalism school they are focused on the journalism aspect. But coming into this training that we've been have introduced us to other aspects of media, that you can run media actually as a business. And this has helped us because from the time we began, we looked at Minority as Africa as a publication, but not as a business. So what these trainings have done for us, we've been able to acquire a lot of knowledge. And then we now look at Minority Africa not just as a media publication, but as an entity that should be able to sustain itself, should be able to sustain the people in it. And also, we've been able to use that knowledge to go out and find other opportunities that can support what we actually do.
The very particular thing that I think we've achieved during the residency has been primarily to grow our content production. We have been able to publish a lot more stories than we had by the time we got into the residency, which was, I think, a very huge focus of, which is something like AKU and our coach and everybody else kept hammering into us, like content is key, which I do agree with, right? It's been very crucial for us. We saw like our numbers grow. I think by the time we got into the residency, we had reached around 300,000 people, and then by the end of it, we were over 1 million people had been reached by our content, which I think was very interesting. We had been able to do like a lot more stories. We've been able to get on a lot more freelancers from different countries, so increase both our geographic and thematic coverage as well. And like there's also been that bit of sort of mastering our content, like in the sense of having a structured format in which we now do things. We know when we're doing this, we know when we're sending out a newsletter, we know how we're doing a video story, we know the processes. And I think that those are very crucial because now it means that we approach every single task just every single activity with the knowledge of who has to do what task, which I think that workflow is generally very crucial for a startup or a media organization in general.
Outside the structures on how we are doing our stories, I think we've also been able to build structures as an organization. For example, when I joined Minority Africa, I was an editorial intern. And then there was no clear, like, oh, you report to so-and-so, or you go to so-and-so for this. But now, as I speak, we have a team in place. I know if, as a duty editor, I know who I report to, I know who is supposed to report to me, I know whom I'm supposed to oversee, I know all that because of the structures we've been able to put in place with guidance of people at AKU like Benson and Michael, our coach. We've been able to, we have an accountant, we have an accounting process, a clear one, we have work plans, we have all those things in place that even if Caleb woke up right now and went, it may be difficult in the beginning, just Saturday I feel bad, but we actually can pick up the pieces and move because those structures have already been put in place, yes.
I can definitely say that my skills really improved during the residency. There was, of course, I came in knowing, I think as we said, like many things about journalism, but not so much about running a media company. And I always say that I'm an accidental media owner, like in a sense, because I didn't really think that you had to do like entrepreneurial things to run a media company. I just wanted to tell stories, but I've sort of had to do those things because those things make the telling of stories possible. So I have really grown like my financial skills, to be honest. Like I think, because as a managing editor, like in a small publication, you really do manage finances to a large extent because you have to manage, oh, we're going to do the story, how much do we need for the story, or how much are we paying XYZ pricing for XYZ thing. So of course there's an accountant, but you are the primary point of contact with people who are like freelancers or contributors. So I think that has helped me. I don't like counting money, but I've had to do quite some of it in the last few months. I've also grown my like skills for like working with more partners. I think, I don't know what would directly call that, but it's helped me with like polishing my grant writing skills, application skills, learning how to write a work plan. And I was saying actually, which I don't think we mentioned, that we recently raised like additional funding from NED, which I think we wouldn't have done if we hadn't had AKU first, because AKU allowed us, like by the time we got to the NED process, it was Herculean, but it felt very almost closely familiar, even though it was quite different in a sense. But we sort of knew that we had to do XYZ thing to do XYZ thing, which we hadn't yet, or which we wouldn't have known without the experience of AKU, right? And also the fact that AKU wrote us a brilliant recommendation as well. So yes, in general, I would say my skills have grown. I'm a much more better entrepreneur in a sense, or media owner or media founder than when I first started. And there's still so much more room for growth, but I can see generally that I have learned quite a number of things by counting money.
So my biggest takeaway from the residency is never to stop learning, because from the trainings and the people we've met and everything that this residency has been about, it has taught us that it is important to keep thinking, how do you improve the media? Because we've been having so many talks, teachings and trainings around, say, things like media viability, or how to run a media organization, or how to, like, grant writing, sustainability of a media company. And this has taught me that no matter what level you're on, no matter what stage in life you're on, you should never stop learning. Learning is good for you, and learning can improve you. It grows your skills, it grows the way you see the world, and because the world is always changing, it's also important to always learn how this world is changing and how to apply yourself effectively.
I think my biggest takeaway from the residency has been the power of community. I've realized how much can happen with a community or a team or just people, even if who don't know. And I think that's something that's also very crucial about being like in the hub as well. Even if you just see them every morning, it just helps you because you see people are working on their own projects and then, oh my God, now I actually have to do mine. So I think that's a very crucial. The startup world needs a lot more of that, I think, especially media startups, because we don't seem to have as many spaces. But it's very crucial for you to wake up each day and see someone else building their own media company, because then, even on the days where you feel like, oh, like, I'm so tired of this whole thing, it's so hard, which it is, there's that sense of community and the sense of, oh, XYZ person is actually wants me to succeed, or like XYZ person is actually rooting for me. So I think that sense of community has been very, very crucial, from the other teams in my cohort to the teams even outside of my cohort, the teams before, the teams after. There's been so much like shared ideas, so much just knowing like, oh, like there's a debunk team, or there's open science, or there's Lamb Sisterhood, or there's honor stories. Innovating actually helps the journey make more sense.